So I recently got the Pixel from Google, and like everyone else, I was extremely excited to see what Google's first attempt could be like, but after spending some time, it's a difficult device to review. In many ways, it's easily the best Android phone you could buy, but first, let's talk about the downsides because there are some things that you should know, especially when the smaller Pixel starts at $649. But then, I can tell you why despite all of this, I still love this phone and its ability to just let you get on with life. My main complaint with the Pixel is the design. It's unassuming and in all honesty fairly bland. For all of Google's ambitions and reach, you'd wonder why this is the best that they could do. It's not a phone that seems worthy of its price, and in many ways it's a lesser version of a design that aped the iPhone. There's an article by Arstechnica and it mentions how Google designed and built the Pixel in only 9 months after Huawei refused to be a silent partner. I imagine the Pixel originally started off as an HTC project but was later morphed into what we see today. This makes sense given the internal similarities between the Pixel and the HTC A9, but over on XDA, they also found internal commits on the Pixel which shows HTC could have been more involved than we originally thought. This rush probably explains why the design, perhaps also the Pixel, missed out on certain features like wireless charging and a strong IP rating. It's a shame that the premium priced Pixel can't compete with the S7 Edge or iPhone because the small details are the ones that will influence your overall decision. And lastly, it's the software. It's by and large the best thing about this phone. It always has been, but the one thing in particular that gets me is the inconsistency between Google's apps. For messaging, you have Hangouts, which is great, but now you also have Allo. Both apps support SMS, but also having a default SMS app is just overall messy. Then there's search. On the Assistant, the only way to interact is through voice. You can't type except that you can on Allo. You also have Google's search button on the home screen, but that's not the Assistant either. Each is a way to communicate with Google, but all do it a bit differently. Example, the Assistant can't recognize songs, but doing the same thing on search works just fine. As a result, any sort of cohesive interaction between all of them is lost. It's confusing and ultimately it's going to be frustrating for a lot of users. It's a shame because Google Assistant is fantastic and shows tremendous promise. It just needs work. Okay Google, play Teardrop.
Playing music.
Now with that out of the way, let's focus on what the Pixel does right because there's a lot. This is one of the rare times you've been given a choice whether to have a larger or smaller device and not lose out if you want to choose the latter. You don't have a weaker processor or less RAM, nor do you have an alternate camera. It offers the same experience across both devices, and that's what Android needs. Once you get it up and running, you're greeted with a beautiful screen. The smaller Pixel comes with a 5-inch 1080p display which not only looks the part, but also feels great to the touch. After hitting the sRGB preset, it's one of the nicest displays I've seen, which is needed considering how often we look at the screen. To help, Google opted for the Snapdragon 821 SoC, which isn't unusual at all, but the fact that it's so common yet the Pixel feels so different is a testament to what we've always wanted from Android. It's an experience that never slows down or gets in the way, it just dissolves into the background, and that's fantastic. When you do want to, you'll be interacting with the latest version of Android where it finally feels like a comprehensive alternative to iOS, and this couldn't have been done without Google working on both the hardware and software to make optimization key. So as a result, new users and the wider audience are just going to love it. There's loads of lovely little touches everywhere, like choosing the height of the keyboard, the ingenious live wallpapers, the night light, and system-wide scaling to help users who don't have the best visual acuity. There's bigger updates too that more experienced users will appreciate. Double tapping the resource icon to go back to your last used app has been around for ages through Root, but it's integrated now and I love it. There's also the new multi-window feature which is growing in app support, but being able to watch something like YouTube whilst browsing the web is just fantastic. Finally, one of the nicest things, the notification system. It's now redesigned grouping apps together and providing more inline replies without having to enter the app. And if it's not the software that appeals to you, then it'll surely be the camera. It's by and far one of the best cameras you'll see on a smartphone. For me, the neutral color reproduction of the iPhone is more pleasing and the low light performance is better on the S7 Edge. The camera is fairly unique in the way it works though. So it doesn't have optical IS nor the faster aperture, but it can get equal to better results through computational photography. So by sampling the image multiple times before you take an image, it can reduce noise in low light. And by reading the gyroscope sensor, it can perform software IS like no other device I've seen. You don't see the magic until you've filmed or snapped a pic, but when you do, it's remarkable. It still needs work, results can look a little unnatural at times, but the technology is exciting. With all of Google's knowledge and resources, I'm surprised a more determined attempt wasn't made to truly set the Pixel apart. Regardless, it does do a lot right and there's some nice hints for the future. Plus, it's all the small things that culminate in an experience that we've always wanted. And that's when things just work. Android Pay is immediate every single time, the GPS never bugs out or loses orientation, it's daydream ready, the internal audio is actually pretty decent, and battery life is excellent. So when you price yourself against the iPhone and the Galaxy S7 Edge but fail to include certain features they do, this could be a deal breaker for you. If you want this, you'll be getting it for the amazing software experience and all the perks that only the Pixel can provide. Thank you to Google for providing the device to review, and leave a comment below, let me know what you think. Also, if you're interested, check out the links for the references I mentioned. Take it easy, and I'll see you soon.